Okay, page 289, question 10, and this is similar to example 4, 6 years. I'm just going to start it and then I want you to finish it, please. So I want you to, if you can pause the video and read the question, that's great. When you come back from pausing it, this is the setup I'd like it to have, much like the setup in the example, okay? The key things are given in the question, the initial cost, the maintenance after 3 years, the selling price after 3 years, okay? So, and the key thing here is that after 3 years he has to sell it, because there's no selling cost, so that's what we have to go with. And we start at the end of the journey, at the end of the 6-year journey, okay? So I know this sounds a bit pointless, but if you had at the end of all, if you had no cars, you'd have no cost, right? So nothing to report there really. So if you had 1 year left, right? These two columns, by the way, are going to be the same the whole way through, but we're going to have more work to do in this column. Alright, you'll see that as we go through it. He's going to keep if there's 1 year left and he keeps the van for 1 year, because that's his only option, is to keep the van for 1 year. Number of years left when he sells the van, that's going to be 0. So the initial cost, this is the cost bit, right? So the initial cost is 22,000. It's going to cost him 400, isn't it, to maintain it from the question, and if he sells it at the end of the year, it's 18,000. Okay, that gives me 4,400 of a loss, because we're talking about losses here now, loss in value, so we're looking for the least amount. That's if historically he buys it at the start of the last year, maintains it and sells it at the start of the last year. So that's this one here, okay? Buys it at the start of the last year, keeps it for 1 year, sells it. So he used to pay the maintenance. So there's no other ways of doing that really. So let's go to 2 years to go from the 6 years. So yeah, 2 years to number of years left, 2 years left. He could keep the van for the full 2 years remaining, or he could keep the van for 1 year remaining. Okay. So if he keeps it for 2 years, the numbers left when he sells the van, the number of years left when he sells the van is 0, isn't it? So he's bought the van with 2 years to go, so it's cost him 22,000. He's kept it for 2 years. So he's had a maintenance cost of, be careful here, 400 and 550, so 950, because it's 400 for the first year and 550 for the second year. So he's paid 22,000 for the car, for the van. He's paid 950 for the maintenance. He's going to sell it, but now the van is 2 years old, so that's going to be 15,000 selling costs from the question. And there's no years remaining. If there's no years remaining, then he's not going to have any costs there. That's the reason why we put a 0 at the top, by the way, so we can follow it back through. Okay, so a bit squished here, but we get I have worked it out, plus 950 minus 150, 7950. Okay, so if he buys it with 2 years to go and then sells it a year later, number of years left when he sells the van, there's still 1 year left, isn't it? So he's bought it, so the cost is 222. He's only had to maintain it for 1 year because he sells it, so that's 400 for 1 year, isn't it? After 1 year, the value is 18,000. But then, if there's 1 year remaining, so we have to go from here up to here, okay? And he's got the costs for that. If he sells it and there's 1 year left, he still has to sell it again, and he has these costs associated with that, so we've got to add that on as well. So 4,400. 4,400. And that gives me 8,800. So the least cost here for that's all the options with 2 years remaining. So I'm going to put a star next to that one. So let's go. 3 years remaining. Number of years left, 3. He could keep the van for 3 years. Could keep the van for 2 years, could keep the van for 1 year. So there'll be number of years left when he sells the van, 0. There could be 1 or there could be 2 years left when he sells the van, okay? Now, as you can see, I'm struggling for space here, so when you set this up, maybe shift it across a bit, like so you've got a bit, because the working out is all on this right hand side. So if he buys it, then it's going to cost him 22,000. The maintenance, because he's going to keep the van for 3 years, is going to be 400 plus 550 plus 1,100. That's all 3 of them added together. That's 2,050. If he sells it then at the end of the 3 years, which is the end of the journey, of the 6-year journey, that's going to be worth 12,500, isn't it? Yeah. Plus 0, because that's our 0 here. Okay. So that gives me 11,550. If he buys it with 3 years remaining, keeps it for 2 years, and then sells it with 1 year left, he's bought it for 22,000. He's maintained it. That's 950. Once you get to this stage, you can kind of look up here. So he maintains it for 950. 2 years maintenance is 950. Okay. The selling price is 15,000 after 2 years. But we have to go then to the loss if he decides to sell it with 1 year to go. So we go back to here. The loss was 4,400. So he's going to incur that cost as well. 4,400. So that gives me a total of 12,350. So if he decides to buy it at 3 years to go, keeps it for 1 year only, so there's 2 years left, cost of 22,000, same as previous. He's only got 1 year's maintenance now, so that's 400. The resale cost after 1 year is 18,000. And with 2 years to go, the best we can do in terms of loss is 7,950. So let's add that on. Okay, so with 2 years to go, we've done that evaluation now. If he sells the van with 2 years to go, the least amount of money it will cost him is 7,950. So we add that on here, okay? That gives me 12,350. Okay? There's no other options in the 3rd year before the end of the 6 years. So if we end up buying it at the start of the 3rd year, the least amount of money that it will cost us would be 11,550. Let's put a star there. So we're working back in the years now, so we're back 4 years to go. He's going to keep the van, so be careful here. So that in the question, it's, well, not the question, it's common sense. If there's no value for the van after 3 years, he's going to sell it at the 3rd year. So he could keep it for 3 years, could keep it for 2 years, could keep it for 1 year. Okay, same as up here. But 4 minus 3 is 1, so I'll have 1 here now, 1 year remaining, 2 years remaining, 3 years remaining. Now, I'm going to finish up soon now, so try and get into the rhythm of what I'm doing. If he buys at the start of 4 years remaining, it's going to cost him 22,000. He's going to maintain it for 3 years. Okay, so we know now 3 years, 2050, the maintenance cost. The selling price is 12,500. Plus, he'd have to buy it again with 1 year left. The least amount for 1 year is 4,400, so we have to add that on. So that gives me 15,950. If he buys it after 4 years, in this year, keeps it for 2 years, there's 2 years left, so we're in this zone here now, but let's not worry about that for a second. So if he buys it, then it's going to cost him 22,000. He's maintaining it for 2 years, 950. He's going to sell it for 15,000, and the best scenario for 2 years is losing 7,950. That gives me 15,900. Okay, if he buys it at 4 years remaining, he keeps it for 1 year, and there's 3 years remaining. It's going to cost him 22,000, and he's maintaining it for 1 year, which is 400. The resale after 1 year is 18,000, and the best case scenario for 3 years remaining was 11,500. Okay, so you work that out and you go from there. So I think I've done a lot of the questions now. So if you're not sure, just go back on the video, see the kind of sequential way I've done that, and try and repeat it now for years 5 and 6. Okay, don't forget, he doesn't keep the van for more than 3 years. So for year 5, you're going to do 5, and you're going to do 3, 2, 1, etc. 5 years, so it's 3, and he sells it after 3, so there's 2 remaining, etc. Okay, hopefully that gives you an idea. Okay, 6 years, bye.